the developers and founders. So this is what they need to be better at building product. This is the main topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. Just a little bit sneak peek into the questions.
Okay.
Good. Wait a second, because I didn't get the chance to scroll. Okay. Hi, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So we want to talk about what kind of digital solution could make this world a better place to live in right now.
So I think straight away I would go to the things that I feel create the most damage. So for me, or not necessarily most damage, but I think the things that have the most bad consequences, let's say. So I think social media is one of those. I think, unfortunately, there are a lot of poor side effects of how these platforms operate and what they're optimizing for, etc. Another is equity, that actually, there are lots of people who can afford to have great lives, have everything they need, and others that don't. And then the third would be climate. So obviously, there are a lot of things that have negative impacts on the climate, and we're not doing enough to maybe alleviate those. So I don't know what the solutions are, but at least those are the three things that I would, if I could, like to create solutions for.
God, that's a difficult one as well, because we're always thinking about amazing products, and AI is allowing us to do that. But AI is in itself is actually kind of creating some of environmental issues as well. So I probably would start to think about products that are trying to optimize AI better, actually, so that those tokens, we spend them well. So I think we're going to see a lot more focus on growth, but at the right cost base. And I think really trying to think about how to maximize usage of tokens actually is something I would say is going to be a thing over the next couple of years, whether that's software or hardware or both. I think I would be investing in those types of companies. Yeah.
So what do founders or product developers got completely wrong about building digital solutions and you would like to see fixed in the near future?
Yeah, we heard a little bit of this on stage, I think from Martin this morning, where it's all about the features. And we do this all the time in product, right? It's like, what's the next feature? What's the next feature on? It's feature. And sometimes I think that causes us to lose against the vision and the strategy as well. So I still come back to kind of vision, strategy. Don't pivot for every reason. Stick to your guns as well if you believe in the vision and strategy, and watch for just that kind of constant new feature versus really building great quality products that customers want to use.
It's hard to say because the founders and developers that I work with generally don't get a lot wrong. They're pretty good. But I think, just also kind of highlight some of the things that I've heard today as well. People make decisions from places that are let's say too superficial. They're not insight-driven enough. They're not strategically driven enough. And I think this is something that, businesses generally can live or die on. So being able to actually structure decision-making and what we build, what we don't build based on a strategy, this is something that will really help businesses to sustain, especially in a competitive market.
What do you believe changed the most in the world of building products since the AI age?
I mean, it's still very much in flux. So I think it's still early. I think still a lot is changing. For me personally, I think there's been a lot of narrative around role change, which I don't believe. I think there's been a lot of narrative around productivity that I do believe. So I think people are able to do more with less. I think this is really kind of something that I have seen personally and something that can make a real difference. And then I think also there's narrative around, let's say, the quality of people's work. This is something I also believe in. I think it's not as much as the productivity angle, but I think that people have been able to produce the kinds of outputs that they might not have previously because they didn't maybe have the expertise. So quality, I think, has been a slight factor as well.
What hasn't changed? I'm going to say, actually, probably something to do with actually our roles in product and engineering. So I think actually our roles are radically changing. I'll talk a little bit about this later on stage, but I was listening to the VP of AI at Microsoft, and she had this phrase called the loop, not the lane. And where she was basically saying is that, roles no longer sit in any given lane. So we're no longer just an engineer or just a product manager or just a UX. We need to be bringing in other skills across the entire organizational discipline into our teams. So whether that's bringing a salesperson onto your team or using AI as a kind of agent salesperson, I think we're seeing a lot of roles change and really moving outside those lanes.
But what is your own definition of AI?
It's funny when I think of AI. I did my computer science degree a long time ago now with Fields, and we studied AI at that point. This is back in the 90s, in the early 90s, and I think when I think of AI, I in my head I'm building a mental picture of a neural network, where everything is interconnected, and that the AI can process that really quickly. So I think when I think of AI, I think it's that ability for interconnections between ideas coming together and for the AI to help us pull those ideas. Sometimes radical ideas and sometimes simple ideas, but from a wider sphere that goes beyond maybe our own discipline. So that's how I think about it.
Technically, intelligence is something that we don't super well understand even from a human point of view. So it's hard to put this artificial label on it. I think, we call large language models AI because they look like us or they sound like us. They're good at mimicking us. And I think that's maybe a slight mistake. But I think in broader case, because AI goes back decades, 1960s, etc. Software that can make decisions on top of large scale data in ways that seem intelligent or in ways that actually would otherwise be let's say too complex for some simple functions. So it's hard to say exactly, but it's somewhere in there.
Somewhere there, okay. A good product, is it a product for everyone or for certain groups of people?
Hard to say. I mean, I'm not sure, so my title is Group Product Manager. I don't know exactly where that comes from other than it being like a group of product managers that I manage. I think a lot of products, no product should be for everyone. I think it's a mistake to think that you can build something that, works in all cases for all people. Having some kind of targeted audience is important. You could call that a group, I guess.
I think it's both. I'm going to have to say on this one. It depends. It depends on your strategy. If you are an organization that's looking for that growth for, a wide population, global dominance, you're going to look for that, right? But however, if you have a product that is focused in a specific discipline, like medical, for example, it's going to be narrowed down, but it's something that might still impact everybody as well. So I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's pick the strategy and go for that.